Sagittarius, welcome back for your November reading. If you're wanting a booking, you can go to the link directly below. Those of you who are new, welcome. Now, let's have a look at what's going on with you guys this month. Now, we're going to have couples, singles, and in-betweeners, as well as your general energy. Now, in the area of your health, you have the sacral chakra. Now, that can be either it's overactive or underactive, or you're going to be really having to pull from that this month in order to alchemize and move your situation forward. Now, the trigger points with life can be connected to choices and where people, where you feel spiritually, some of these choices are taken from you, where you can take your power back in that domain. It can be temptations. Look, anything connected to trigger points of the Band-Aid effect of what we use to actually cope with situations can be food, alcohol. I'll continue on. You get my drift. So the choices of the left or right can be a very reflective energy, but I do feel that this is more an energy that's coming up in a trigger point of because you're having to utilize this frequency during the month. I'll hyperlink it into the reading so you directly understand why it's relevant. It's also your self-esteem related domain. Now, between last month and this month moving forward, it is quite a fertile time. So do be careful, especially with this chakra. Look, if it's balanced, it can mean that you have heightened passion and expectations, and it can be that you're actually manifesting things on a very large scale. So try and keep these chakras grounded. You can use oil therapies, you can use meditation if the frequency for the sacral chakra. You can also eat the yellow food groups to help balance this. So it can be lemons, especially for those of you who are in Europe moving into winter. You know, keeping up the yellow food groups to keep your health intact and that frequency within the chakra moving is going to help you, especially when it's cold. You know, your frequency's down, and you know, even the acid levels inside, it can be an imbalance in that. Again, I'm not a doctor, and if you need it checking and there's health points in it, do have that checked. I'll try and hyperlink it again through so we can understand. Now, in your wealth sector, anything to do with contracts, binding, your passions, and it can be working with a person who you have a direct connection with. It can be two companies bonding and merging. For some of you, it can be you're getting help from a connection who is actually spiritually supporting you in some shape or form. Mentorship. Now this can be bridging the gap. And your money could be going into a direct relationship at the moment, or you're investing for a future so you can have a solid foundation. Now, this is be a couple or single. You're still moving towards what you're trying to manifest in, regardless of if the person is present. It can also be a passionate connection and finance going into it. Now, try and do it from a very balanced level if this is relevant, because with the self-esteem and the choices, try and keep the boundaries quite healthy, especially when this chakra is overactive. It can be that, you know, especially from an empath point of view, we give. And this can cause an impact on your finances. So generally, in particular chakras, with them aligned correctly, we can manifest finances in fantastically. But it can also be that you're giving too much to one area. And in your wealth section, it is very much connected to a love interest or something you're passionate about, a joint hobby. It could be joining the gym, a hobby, whatever your finance is going towards. It can be in a connection. It also can be connected to working in groups. Know that the current position you're in, if you're wanting to move to the next level, you can. It can be through a female or a male figure. I'm seeing the opposite sex, which is going to be an assistant to you to move to the next level, but you have to own that frequency. Also, it does come down to the aspect of the communication and your intuition of, hey, I need to communicate this aspect. Now, again, it can be connected to a person who you actually have a romantic interest to. And it can be because of a romantic situation, you're wanting the wealth department to move forward. And again, it is a transformation. So there is going to be a transformation in your finance sector. Now, it may not happen right away. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's something you've been working towards. It can be that the people around you, especially in your business domain, they physically see who you are and what your abilities are, but it's you physically and spiritually owning that in order to communicate such so that you can get the movement happening in that career sector for finance to come in. But in your finances, it feels it's going to transform. Now, in your happiness sector, there are many right ways for us to behave. You're looking back over how you've evolved. You know, and it's like you're adulting up, and it's like, wow, I'm so not who I was yesterday. But sometimes you don't want to be the responsible one. But I do feel in a transformative state, you're very passionate, and you're looking at previous choices, roads, you know, what you were passionate about, what you went, and you've evolved. And you're looking at that and you're going, gosh, you know, things that did make me happy are no longer making me happy, but have definitely changed. It's like I feel you've had in 1 year 3 transformations, but you're looking back even further. It can be 10 years ago. A lot of us are actually directly looking at 2010, 2012. A lot of old frequencies are really moving out of our life, and they're coming up for focus. Now, the happiness as well is that you've really educated yourself, okay? A lot of what you achieve in your life is going to be self-taught. You very much are the type of zodiac sign that very much has to think on their feet and very much does evolve naturally. And you have the gift of the gab, but you also have the intelligence to go with it, okay? So when you see something, you actually can fine-tune and see how things can be done better. You're able to manage your tasks very efficiently. So especially when it comes to your wealth, seeing in your happiness in your life how much you've evolved, you've got to start owning that, because I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit at the moment to realise how far you've come. So trying to be happy it comes from within, but take note of that to actually, you know, praise yourself for all of your growth and your scholar, so to speak, of how you've evolved and how you're self-taught yourself. I do feel some of you haven't had a family figure around you to mentor you in the early years. And that's not for all of you, obviously, but it feels like a very important, prominent person. They may have been in your life, but they weren't present in the way that perhaps, in your opinion, a normal person should have been there. So a lot of what you learnt was sort of through trial and error. But through that trial and error, you actually realised that that person that wasn't there correctly had to go through the same transformation. So you're actually quite similar, but in a very unique way. Differently, but unique. Now, the surprise is going to be how happy you're going to be this month. That's something that's going to come about that is going to be quite unexpected. Now, some of you may be expecting a child. I'm just going to say it. But it feels, for those of you who this is relevant, it's like you've actually wanted it. So if this is such for you, big congratulations. Because again, especially with these chakras, if you're not wanting a baby, pre-warned. Be careful. Now, what you're not seeing, let's have a look at this. You're not really, okay, what you're not seeing is how all these things that are coming through in your life, the relationships, the connections, the people you interconnect with, that you've actually manifested these people in. You're not too fussed on, I feel your energy is focused on self. So it may be why you had not wanted a relationship, but wanted a relationship. So this can be a past tense person coming back. Especially since we have a younger person. It can be someone you had a child with for some of you, or it might have been you knew them from when you were younger, and it was a partner. So some of you may be seeing a person you haven't seen in a long time. Now, if you're in a relationship, it may be that you see the old person and you've become quite independent, and their old frequency comes back. Now, this can be good or bad, but nevertheless, it's like some of it you're actually thinking, you're not understanding you've actually attracted some frequencies in, good or bad, but it's always there to help us spiritually evolve and understand. So it's never wrong Also, be very careful for your neck, okay? Your neck and your sinuses, I'm seeing, it's actually causing a lot of like congestion. Be very careful with it. If it's something that is happening all the time, go and get it checked, because it's either I'm seeing glasses or sinuses, and it's causing tension, but it feels like congestion, so to speak, and it is impacting you, especially in your working environment, for those of you whose this is relevant. Now, the actions, the transformations or suggestions that you may need to follow. I think it's the realization. Now, what you need to do is practice more on your manifestation, because at the moment, I think you're being a bit too busy, that you haven't really been seeing how some of these things are coming in. Okay, there's a message coming in a sense of a download for some of you in relation to a connection. You had sadness too. Now, this can be a past tense energy, right? It may be that you need to communicate with this person to finalize the chapter. It may be that you need to, and this can go vice versa, so this can go either way, especially through your reading. When you're tuning into a person, their frequency can merge with you, especially when you're a twin. So be super careful in listening, you know, that you're just concerned between whose energy is what. Now, with this situation, it can be that while you're super busy, you feel you have everything on a track. Especially during retrogrades and Venus, a lot of things out of left field can come on. I have noticed the last few months, Mercury's energy jumped in September, whereas even though the frequency was prior to that. So it sort of does feel that some of the planetary related downloads, transformations are happening slightly later. When it comes to this person, I'm seeing that you had moved away from this person, for those of you who this is relevant. You also may have unresolved feelings or communication connected to them. Now, it might have made you sad, and you perhaps had wanted to have something move to the next level with this person. Now, they may have actually moved on, and for those of you who are in a current relationship and this is a previous person, this can be really confusing you, or at the time it did. The actions, I feel, is that some of you might be at a crossroad and you're like, what do I choose? Plan A, plan B. Now, I'll go to the in-betweeners to relate to that, and I may even put the cards on here, because I feel the actions you're needing to take is in relation to anyone who is in a left or right situation more so. Those of you who are at the point, I'll look at the couples as well and see if it's relevant. But I feel a past energy coming in. Now, the couples in the past, it might have been an old person that come back in. It may have been someone you worked with. It can also be somebody that you had to really negotiate with at times, that it wasn't flowing as well. Now, in the past, it may have been that there were delays and there was something that you were tying up in a sense of loose ends. It also can be that their energy was very assertive and yours may have been quite passive, and that's changed. Now, in the present, it may be that you feel that you've lost something. Now, this doesn't have to be connected to this current relationship. This can be a family member. It could be an old love interest. There's a frequency of loss internally in the present moment. The loss can be lost to, hey, what do we do from here? Something's changed in the relationship. Although I'm not feeling a terrible feeling. Your crowning energy within the relationship is ascension, so it is moving to another level. So again, I was picking up the frequency of a child or something in relation to the connection to a child. Now, in the heart of the matter, of this relationship, it's a deep spiritual connection. Now, this could be your soulmate, twin flame, or it could be a new person. But again, it is connected to it changing and ascension. Now, in the future, it may be that you're very different to the way you did in previous relationships. Now, it may be that you don't want to put as much work in. It might be that you had all the work and they didn't, or vice versa. However, this directly relates. Now, I'm going to pull clarification cards. There's going to be some sense of judgment. Now, some of you be very careful, especially when it comes to pregnancy. I'm seeing that you may need more tests to make sure that you're safe. And again, I'm not a doctor, so if you feel you need to get these things checked, this is a general reading, get it checked. Okay, so something may have come up in a sense that you moved into the frequency of relationship and things moved very quickly. Things changed, right? Now, when it comes down to a decision had to be made. So it might have been negotiations and you took a leap of faith and you jumped in. Now, I do feel this is a past life connection. And you do feel in this connection you've been to hell and back. Through this ascension, you're hoping for better days. You're tired of the rainy days. This can be in your finances. It can be in various situations. It doesn't even have to be connected to this loving connection. The mind looking back over the whole year and previous years gone by, especially 2010 and 12, and going, wow, we've come a long way. Now, in the future, with this loss and doubt, it may be that you're feeling, gosh, am I losing this connection? What's happening? You know, what's going on with me? If this is relevant for you, it can be that you feel that something's hopeless. Now, it might be a loss you've experienced. It can, again, be connected to employment or a previous person. Now, between you, there is jealousy. So be careful with that frequency. But again, it can be that the way in which people are directly connected to this union are quite jealous of your spiritual connection. Because a lot of times what happens inside is happening outside. So it's a reflection of what's going on in our life. So if people are acting like this, it's a belief system we're holding in a frequency. And remember, I keep saying, change the channel. You're not looking at it. You're missing a point in the connection. There's something missing. Something you're not quite seeing. Okay, you're really on protection mode. So something in the frequency has changed. Okay. Okay, you're going into hermit mode. You're really meditating. So something has actually changed. You're soul searching in relation to what to do from here. Again, it may be that you feel this is out of balance. Now, some of you might be feeling that this is, how would I put it? That something's out of balance. It can be that you feel people are hindering the relationship and it's making you sad. I do feel some aspects of family-related interference, especially when it comes, I keep hearing child. Now, it might be that, you know, you guys lost a child, but it's, I'm not feeling, if this is so, it's way previous. It's not current energy. It just feels some sense of loss. Okay, you've got some expectations. It's like, okay, strongest suggestion right now of what I'm visually seeing. especially when it comes to you being grounded in choices. I do feel you're at a T-section in the road. Now, your frequency is you are going through an awakening, and a lot of times when we go through an awakening, we're having these aha moments, and we're like, does this even relate to me anymore? And it can be a whole 360 where one could say, hey, are you going through a midlife crisis? What's going on with you? It's like literally a 360 and everything in your life changes. Your clothing, your taste in food, your friendships, your attitude, your job, your connections, everything. And it's like, what just happened? And then people can get very triggered by it, but it's because something inside you is just, this isn't correct. Now, this can be previous energy, and the person is coming back in and they're with you and you're going, oh, but if you're still living in that previous frequency, it's going to come through in your reading. So it can be that you're dealing with blocks connected to past tense situations. Doesn't even have to be connected to your relationship. It can be childhood traumatic events seeping into the frequency of the relationship. So be cautious of that this month so that you can keep grounded, so you're making healthy, optimistic choices and you're feeling worthy inside to get the best out of the situation. Now, those of you who are in a left or right, okay, you may be up in each other's face all the time, and the road you want to go, be it another person or just out or stay, it's like there's no time out. Something's in your face. Now, it might be the reality, the truth, or the vibration. Now, when it comes down to it, you're seeing your potential or somebody's potential, and you know who this is. This is connected to a deep spiritual connection and someone of whom you're missing, and someone who might have caused sadness towards you that you're wanting to move to the next level. Now, some of you, again, I'm seeing left, right. And this can be going on in your relationship if you're a couple. Now, for those of you who are single that have that situation going on, fence, you've got offers, you've got ideas of maybe who connects with you. You're dealing with your finances, okay? You are feeling internally abundant. You're feeling very stable. You're feeling very focused. And again, what you're not seeing, remember, is a lover. So it can be somebody coming in. Now, in the past, it's taken you through a self-discovery mode, right? But you also felt that in some shape or form perhaps you invested incorrectly. Now, yes and no. There's never incorrect. There's lessons, rather, and lessons turn into blessings because you can take something with you regardless of what happens. Pain happens, but what you get out of it when you've evolved, you're like, oh. Now, it's going to take a lot of effort to push this through, but I do feel something's going to move. Now, I do feel for you guys, this is with this spiritual connection, within the soulmate connection. Soulmate, it's going to be a deep connection. That's what I'm being shown. A deep connection. Someone you haven't let go of. Too many cards. It's, oh, okay. So be it. Okay, someone you haven't let go of. It is going to be a new chapter. And I heard turning over a new leaf, but you're going to have to let the past go. You do have two choices, okay? This is a left or right, and it is after an awakening, which again, remember, there is the awakening. You are going to move forward, and again, confirmation, double confirmation. Shadow self aspects moving forward after waiting, some of you being left out in the cold, after the ascension. Now, March, May, I'm hearing something changed, and it's changed again. So take things at face value. Again, as long as you are balanced in your chakras, I feel the way you're going to deal with this current situation is going to be very different. So I will leave it at that. If you are wanting a booking, like I said, you can go to the link below. We do mid-month videos here and twin flame videos in the live sessions. I try and give you guys a heads up, but click the bell and you can come and join. Love and light.